I want to explain a little bit about the uh, tracker in my wrist and the clamps in my shoulder. So, the reason I haven't gotten them out is because I've been through a lot of things. I've had a lot of people do a lot of things to me. I've been uh, treated in an oppressed way at businesses and stuff, and when I stand up for myself, I get kicked out. Uh, Too many stories to tell. I've had my own family shut me out, my own friends disappear on me and cut me off. And on top of all that, I have to uh, I don't know what the clamps that tighten on my brachial plexus are made of. Now, I used to work for Merit Medical years ago, but I just was a packer, a warehouse worker. So I'm not an expert on the kinds of substances, plastic type substances that medical equipment is made of. I don't know. Uh, at times, I've thought an ultrasound would pick it up, but then I think it's just uh, women mocking me, calling me a woman, and telling me to use an ultrasound because that's what pregnant women use. An MRI, the other types of scanning procedures. I had somebody who suggested that I get a uh, scan that scans for microchips, so some sort of chip scanner. My plates are made of titanium. I'm pretty sure. It all costs money. Now, when I started to catch on about what was inside my shoulder, and then soon after what might be in my wrist, uh, um, I was in jail. I was in Salt Lake County Jail. I was in there. The Every pod in Salt Lake County Jail has an area where you can go outside. It's just about a 15-foot by 20-foot square cement block where you can walk around, run around, play wall ball, other stuff. Uh, and I was outside one day just trying to do my time. It was probably the second or third time I was in jail. I went to jail maybe a total of 5 or 6 times with different durations. But it was probably the second or third time I was in Salt Lake County Jail. And now, ever since I got the surgery in 2012, now when I left surgery and I was working at a call center, I went to the oil field. And I got exercise bands. I researched uh, the, um, the rotator cuff, but there's other muscles too that are important. But I started doing what I thought was right. My arm was very slowly getting better, very slowly. And now that I know what I know, I think that they cut me open, put these clamps on me, and just clammed down and just left them clamped. And my whole right side of my arm was atrophying like crazy. I couldn't swing a hammer. And I mean just a little 3, 4, 5 pound little short stubby oil filled hammer. I couldn't even pick it up and swing it. Well, as time went on, see, the government operates in a way where it's very hard to prove that they do things to you. That's what they do to people. That's how they get away with doing the things that they get away with. Now with me, I'm out there, and my arm, it was probably about maybe 75% smaller than what it is right now. Whereas this arm, it was normal sized. My whole chest was collapsed. I looked normal right out of the surgery room. But, after about a week, maybe 2 weeks, something like that, all of a sudden, all my whole right side of my body just started sucking in. And my arm, it atrophied like crazy. And I couldn't, when I would do a push-up, it was 90% with my left arm. My right arm was so numb. I could, I couldn't even move my fingers. My fingers were hard to move. Well, so over the years, everything slowly got better, but I never did quite get the ability to raise my arm over my head. But I did get some of them. I got the mass of my muscle back and the movement and the majority of the movement, short of going over my head, back. Now, here's the thing though. Whenever I would go for a walk, just a typical walk, I would, at certain times, those clamps would bite down and make my arm go numb. And I didn't think much of it at all. I didn't catch on because I didn't think in a million years that the surgeon put stuff inside my body. And then when shortly after I had been political for a few years and I was enduring a bunch of bullying and harassment from the community, and then I was having problems with my dad and dealing with crap from my neighbors, and they were doing things to me that were making me mad. And then I ended up going homeless and in and out of jail. It was the second or third time I was in Salt Lake County. And I was in that outdoor area, whatever you call it. And up in the sky, Most of the pods, I think pretty much all of the pods, have a chain link fence on the top of the roof. I mean, it's 20 feet, 20, 25 feet up in the air anyway. I don't know why they do that, but they do. But regardless, it was cloudy. It looked like it was going to have lightning and rain. And I have this plate in my wrist. And I just, when that, there was this native woman that showed up in front of my dad's house, and I could see her through the living room one time. Real nosy bitch too. I mean, she thinks she can just stare right into your home, and and she had a real dominant personality to her too. But as I came outside and conversated with her, she started talk. She just casually threw out the comment, leave your hand up in the air. I mean, and I'm used to that. I'm used to people saying really snotty, code talk, secret agent, evil bullshit that makes me want to crack them. I'm used to it now. And well, it depends on the time that the comment gets said and what it is that gets said and whatnot. But anyways, she said, hold your hand up in the air. Like this is some kind of a game. And so I would, when going for walks, I would just kind of experiment. I'd put my hand up in the air and the numbness would go away. Well, it would be there and then I'd let it down and the numbness would go away. So it's kind of like some sort of an embarrassment thing, some sort of embarrassment, subordination, submissive action that I'm doing. Whoever it is that is in the government that has the equipment to clamp down on and crush my brachial plexus nerves does it, and then when I do what they tell me to do, they release it. Now, so I started doing it out of habit. And I'm in Salt Lake County Jail. And I'm in that outdoor area in one of the pods. And it looks like it's going to rain or snow. Or thunder and lightning. There was a slight clamp down, and I just raised my hand up. And I think that what those people were doing is they were doing some sort of a little test, a cruel, mean little experiment to see if my plates would attract lightning, or to see if I'm scared to do it. And I don't think it's funny. And when that happened, that was when I realized whatever's in here, or this complication with the surgery, this ain't right. There is some stuff inside my inside my shoulder on the nerves. And then I started doing research and stuff. I have never found a story on Google of anybody ever having proven that they get things of this nature put inside them, clamps put on their nerves that tighten and loosen. Now the trackers, I mean, people put trackers in animals all the goddamn time. But I didn't give permission to have this thing put inside my wrist that's in there, that I think is in there. And I definitely didn't give permission to have this. And I think I mentioned in a previous video, this is going on YouTube, not Rumble, that The surgeon could have used a catheter to inflate the vein, my subclavian vein, and leave it inflated for a little longer than 15 seconds. But he didn't do it. He wanted to cut me open and shove shit in my body. He's like, this guy looks like a fun guy to screw the life up of. It looks like some fun. So, yeah, he did that. And it wasn't until around 2019, about 7 years after I got the surgery, that I started to catch on and be like, oh my God, there's something inside me, actually inside me. And so anyways, why am I not getting it out? Well, it's not exactly a normal situation. I have limited functionality of my right arm. It doesn't happen all the time. It's not like a permanent thing. The permanent dynamic is that the clamps can clamp down at times, but they're not permanently clamped. So, when you go through a bunch of bullshit, sometimes you get used to shit. Now, all this stuff in my apartment, that saddle behind me, I bought that back in 2013 or so. The snowboard I have in my corner over there, I bought that in about 2013, maybe 2014. So for anybody out there who wants to say, oh, you got money from Social Security to give you the ability to go get scanned and stuff. Well, so when I got out of the state hospital, I was on medication. And, it's kind of funny because when people do things to piss me off, I raise my voice, I yell at them, I cuss them out. I might get in their face, but it's not cops. So what that makes me think is that the fact that Odyssey House isn't trying to shove pills down my throat like Salt Lake County Jail did by lying through their paperwork, and I've got the paperwork right there. The fact they're not doing it leads me to believe it's because it has to do with cops. I'm not fucking with cops. I'm not getting mad at them. I'm not saying things on the internet about them. Because shortly after 2014, alright, so hold on, I'm getting off subject. So you got to know, so first of all, I'm on meds. I'm not in the right state of mind. I was on meds when I got out of the state hospital in February 2023. And when I moved in with my mom and her husband, they're very difficult to live with. Okay? Now, that might not be... some people have good families and they have good lives, and they don't have any idea what it's like to live with people that are fighting all the time and they go up and down with roller coasters and stuff. I'm not going to explain my mom or her husband in this video, but between living with them, being on the meds, and when I got out of the state hospital, I was supposed to report to Odyssey House. And Odyssey House, when you go there, they get you on state assistance, which is $250 a month. They tell you don't get a job, we're going to get you on disability. That's what they do at Odyssey House. They medicate you, then they sit there and they medicate you, and then they sit there and they tell you how you need to be on the meds, and then they're going to get you put on disability. And you just, you eat it up, and you don't go out and get a job. And then you end up falling into a different pattern of life. You get used to being, I got used to living like this fully grown, fully capable, fully physically and mentally capable adult living with parents is being told, don't go get a job. And then I ended up getting some money from disability. Now, I could have taken that money and done a few things with it. I could have taken the money and gone and disappeared into a different state. And who knows what the hell, lived off the grid or something, gotten some camping gear and done something like that. I could have moved out of the goddamn country, which I wanted to do in Trump's first presidency, by the way. Shortly before I started going homeless and jobless repeatedly, because I was fighting back against COVID. And I was getting treated like shit at the fucking unions. So I could have disappeared into a small town. I could have left the fucking country. I could have started some kind of a business. I wanted to start a truck driving business. That's not possible right now. I decided. Now there was a train of there was a series of thoughts that went through my head over a period of time. When I was in the state hospital, I got the idea, hey, maybe I should look into becoming an engineer. I want to be a smart person. So I went and thought, hey, I'm going to buy me an electrical engineering book. And all the while, I'm going to educate myself while I'm sitting around doing nothing, while Odyssey House tells me, don't get a job. Let us pump you full of fucking meds. And instead, we're going to get you on disability and stuff like that. What did I do? So there are quite a few things in my apartment that I actually did buy with the money I was given. Here it's a funny thing. Advertising, when you are bored and depressed and down and you have nothing to do and you're a kind of person that doesn't want to sit on your fucking ass and watch TV all day long, it's very easy to coerce you into spending money on things. Now, so through a series of trains of thought that I had while dealing with the medication and the life modification I took, I mean, going on, what is it? For my first job, 16, but my first actual job, 18. Uh, 18 till, I got out in 2023, so 36 years old. So that's 18 fucking years of working my ass off. Well, actually, more like 15 years, because there was about 2.5 to 3 years where I was limping from job to job, getting canned for no reason, and uh, and just being jobless and homeless and in and out of jail and stuff. It's quite a lot of change to go through. So for anybody who watches this and they think, oh, why just go get a scan? Well, and here's the next part of the thing. So in this apartment that I'm in right now, I've had over 4 dozen break-ins. I've got a camera right over there. I've got a camera right outside the goddamn front door, pointed down the hallway, angled at my door. But guess what? If you're a computer programmer, you can get through all that. You can walk into someone's home and wipe the fucking goddamn evidence. Or make it very hard to track down. On top of that, fucking cops will not help me. They sit there and they make excuses. And they come up with bullshit stories. And they sit there and they fuck with my head. Like pieces of shit. Like little assholes. Salt Lake City Police Department. They're fucking pricks. Playing politics. So, one time in the period of homelessness and joblessness and stuff that I was going through, when I was, and it's not a mental illness, it's getting bullied at the workplace and walking out because of you don't want to assault someone and go to jail, and then having people sabotage your goddamn car or do other little things. People do things, and then what they do is they say, oh, no, that guy's got a mental illness, because people will believe anything. So one time I was living with my mother in the basement, and I ended up being taken to a medical hospital because I was laying on the bed and I was in shock about the situation that I had fallen into. I couldn't comprehend it, so I'm laying down on my mattress, staring at the ceiling, not talking to anyone, not responding to anything, and my mom flips out, calls the paramedics. I go to the hospital. When I'm there, one of the medical staff, a nurse or something, I don't remember if she was being a smartass or saying anything that was some Kotak bullshit or whatever, but she was asking me these questions in a certain way to try to, I guess, probe my mind, what I know and what I don't know. And then there was a popping noise coming from an electrical device, a medical device that was to the side or behind me. So with all the stuff I go through, and when people sit there and they when people sit there and lie to you and gaslight you and bully you, and law enforcement and the government don't do anything for you and basically rip your life apart or help do it, and then medical staff do it to you, you're not really in the mood to you fork over the money to get a scan where the image can be edited and the nurses and stuff could lie to you. It's like a brain scan that shows up on a screen and it's got all these colors. It's just colors on a computer screen. Anyone that knows computer programming, that knows, I've got a book right over there in that box that talks about how to, it explains how computer programming, how binary code can create colors. So if you're viewing this video and you're going and you're doing what everyone does and they sit there and they go, see, the most annoying question in the world is, why would someone do that? When someone asks me that, it makes me want to hurt them. Because I've heard that 1,000 times. As if I'm supposed to know the answer. Am I supposed to know the answer? Am I supposed to give someone an answer to that question? Why would someone do that to me? I don't have to give an answer. If someone walks up to you and says that something bad happened to them, and you seriously say, why would someone do that to you? You really are a piece of shit. You're a really shitty human, in my opinion. But, so, now there's a small part of me that thinks that all this was kind of in some kind of a plan, because the politically conscious of the country, they kind of have these plans laid out, because that's social development. And then, see, one thing I kind of think that, see, I refuse to put in free political work. I refuse to go do things for other people because I'm not a slave. My First Amendment, it exists for me and nobody else. And I completely reject the community where I'm supposed to go do things for women and go do things for kids and go do things for old people. I'm supposed to serve. I ain't gonna do that. It's like, I'm glad I didn't join the military and serve in a war for Israel. I really am blessed for that. But I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. I don't have to do anything for anybody else if I don't want to. And go figure, in this society that we have, everyone wants you to do things for them, especially if you're 6'2" and you've got and you look like me. You look like a guy who, first of all, I'm very articulate, and so people on the left, they want to get free political work out of the big guy, especially the white supremacist looking motherfucker like me, the skinhead looking guy, which I really hope those terms phase out in this era, because it's stupid. I shave my head because I'm bald. So anyways, so I have this thought that it's possible that people are trying to use me. So one thing is, I think they're trying to use me as some sort of a bridge between men and women, male and female gender politics or some crap. And that's just a slight theory. It's possible because the Mormon Church is very family oriented. However, I also think that all these fucking shitty ass fucking nurses and doctors and stuff that won't do anything to help me, and instead they sit there and they talk to me as if they're trying to tell me to go walk around the neighborhood, talk and code talk with people, make myself look like a dumbass, making people think I'm somebody I'm not. They do that because we have a bad healthcare system, and they think, oh, you don't want to stand up for our healthcare system. Well, go do this instead. Like, here's your options. These are your economic options. These are your options based on what the community says you're allowed to do. And I say fuck you to both of them. You don't tell me what to do. Now, I think that shoving equipment inside people's bodies without their permission is a violation of human rights. Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't that sound like a pretty legitimate human right? That if you know, it's kind of implied consent that when you sign a contract with a surgeon that says, yeah, you have permission to cut me open, that what they're supposed to do is they're supposed to not put things inside you without their permission. Now, something that just barely popped up in my fucking head. So I've actually had hackers sit on my phone while I'm typing, and they'll insert the letter R. Now, when you're a white male in America and you're not a liberal and you look like me and you live a life like me and you read the news articles I read and the subjects you read, you end up associating specific letters with specific words. Like S is stop, or L is lose, W is win. That's the word that pops in my head when I see these letters now. For the first few years, I didn't even know what to think of them. I'm just like, what is this? What's this letter popping up for? Now they're just coming up in my head. And the fucking government's not doing anything. They're letting these fucking asshole fucking neighbors do it. So anyways, the letter R, rape. I've never raped anybody. Never. Not once in my life have I ever raped anybody. So, there is no political vengeance that is due here. And regardless, of that, let's say I did rape someone one time in the past, which I didn't, but for the sake of this video, let's say that I did. Vigilante justice is not okay. And community politics is just group-based vigilante justice. And they've got it wrong. In fact, okay, so I just watched a Dierks Bentley music video of it's my favorite song, What Was I Thinking? He's taking a chick on a date. In the music video, he does this with his jaw. Now, when I sit there and my jaw on this side, it kind of crackles and stuff. It's loose. Now, I've never had my jaw broken. I've met heads with the bowl a couple times. I've got a skull. Make sure the light gets it. Okay. And the screen went dark. So let me see if I'm still filming. Yes, I'm still filming. Okay. So I've got a scar riding bulls. One time I was on a bull in Stephenville, Texas, and I got pulled down and met my chin on the bull. A lot of bull riders have that that scar. Blech. Now, one time I got my nose broken. I've had bumps and bruises and stuff. I've never had my jaw broken. I've never been punched by someone so hard that my jaw was broken. This thing with my jaw, it's the muscles are off. Now I think there's a small part of it that may be connected with my muscle imbalance for my shoulder because of uh, the atrophy that occurred, and the fact that if you raise your arm over your head, you were exercising your scalene muscles and your scapula is raising up and all of your muscles are working in a certain kind of way. They're flexing, they're bending, they're shortening and lengthening in different spots. Now, my right side of my jaw, it's more pointy. Whereas the left side of my jaw, it's very round. It's rounded. And the crunching that I get when I grind my jaw, it's a little bit slight right here on this side, but it's more on this side, and it's kind of okay. Michael Jordan would stick his tongue out. It takes muscles to stick your tongue out. Now, there's a small part of it, I think it could be related to politics. Like, it could be some kind of a biological reaction to uh, the political landscape or something like that. You know, my jaw might actually improve if I kissed a woman, if we were to make out or something like that. But women don't even give a shit about me. They don't care at all. They want to stick me on disability and feed me and ignore me. Pretend I don't exist. Won't go on a date with me, nothing. God, you know, I used to have the hardest time. You know, I've had the hardest time. Never mind. I'm not talking about my dating life. That's my business. That is not anybody's business but mine and mine alone. But yeah, my jaw. This happened when the country went weird with politics. And I'm trying to figure out how to get my jaw, the right side of my jaw, to kind of go back to normal. I don't know if it will. You know, the cartilage on my ears are different, and they've been like that since I was a kid. The cartilage on my right side of my ear is really smooth, and on the left side, it's kind of more. It's got a point to it. It's very. I never thought much of it, except I would kind of touch them a little bit. My OCD or whatever you want to call it. But this jaw thing, look, people, I don't know, it's weird. It's like people are coming up with different stories and stuff, and different kinds of cover stories and different kinds of explanations about my anomalies. Or it's just so look, so the point of this video is this. Uh, I got a certain amount of money from disability, and I considered it severance pay for not getting a trial, which is guaranteed by the Constitution. Well, you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm losing a lot of faith in the whole Constitution. I don't think it even matters. This country, this country is very off when it comes to things. Uh, I don't know. Uh, I mean, I think the United States of America, as a population, has reached a certain point where everyone's stubborn, nobody trusts each other, everyone wants to be uh, I don't know. All I know is this: I lost my gun rights because I stood up and you know, there was a time when you didn't have cell phones and security cameras everywhere, and you could get into a fist fight, and you'd get a bloody nose or black eye, brush the dirt off your clothes, maybe shake hands like men, and go on about your business. That's actually a thing about men. Men kind of used to be like that. Uh, Now, the men that tell me to lift myself up by my bootstraps, like the guy at the grocery store about a week or two ago, I don't imagine getting in a fight with them and they're going to be all, a man about it. And I've lost most of the fights I've been in. I got beat up a bunch as a kid, and I got into a couple of fights in my early 20s, and I lost pretty much every single one of them. And but and I got to think back. There was one fight I was in where I got into a fight with another guy, and he was a fellow bull rider, and he didn't make it either. Neither of us made it. He's a Utah like me, and actually that pissed me. I'm going on a rant. So yeah, so these veterans out there, like the veteran that I talked to at the cannabis dispensary in California that was former special forces, who confirmed right to my face that he has stuff in him too. Those people out there, civilian or veteran, that have things in their bodies, they don't get them taken out because of what ends up happening when they start learning that photography and imagery can be modified, whether it's digital or whether now, if it's old school, if it's, so I have a game plan. I have a plan. I'm not saying game because it's not a game to me. I have a plan on what to do with my life, sort of, at least to get these things out of me. And I just wanted to make a video to tell people, you know, I lost my 20s to riding bulls. And then I lost my 30s to politics. In 2 years, this October, I'll be 39. So that means in October of 2026, I'll be 40 years old. This is not how I thought I'd live my life. Uh, I rode bulls from 23 years old till about 31, 32 years old. And I wasted it. I wasted my 20s. I could have gone to school. All these books I have that I'm going to be reading, I could have read them in my 20s. And then throughout my 30s, I wasted my 30s. I lost my 30s. I lost my 20s and 30s. You know, uh, that really bothers me. And then I'm all hyper constitutional. I'm this proud American. I have the balls and the brains to speak out about things and call out bullshit and to stand up for what's right. And the majority of people that are around me in this world, my family, my friends, and everyone else, most people, they take their whole First Amendment for granted. They don't appreciate it. I don't want to share a country with people that don't appreciate their First Amendment. If they take their First Amendment, their right to say whatever you want, and they just piss it away saying stupid stuff or whatever, I don't want to share a country with them. But I'm not entirely sure I even want to be an American anymore. And this is actually kind of the thought process I had. About 3 years into Trump's presidency, his first presidency, I was trying to leave the country. I was wanting to go other places. And I'm getting to that point again. Because this country's taken so much from me. You know, I'm sitting on disability in this apartment. I'm not working. What I'm doing is I'm working on myself. I'm this fascist Star Trek fan. Very dedicated to trying to help others, but burning out because people don't want to help themselves. And nobody wants to be my friend. And nobody wants to have a family with me. That I don't know. So, yeah, the point of this video is just to explain why I haven't gotten a scan of my shoulder and my wrist. So you've got the explanation. It costs money. I don't have it. I don't have it. I did have it, and my head wasn't in the right place because of the meds and living with my family, dealing with my family. And then it just, as a priority, it's a priority, but when you know that people can screw with computer and photographic digital imagery, you don't trust people and you don't trust their equipment. So that's it. All right, this video is 53 minutes and all right, so I want to mention a timestamp of this video so that people know that if you see a video of me and it's got clips edited, if you see a video clip of me and it's little shortcut edits, don't watch it. And if I run into somebody on the street who watched it and they're an asshole to me, I'm going to break their fucking nose. Because that's just dirty. It's immature, dirty politics to get people to be assholes to other people. And, you know, I want people in this country to start fighting back against manipulative bullshit. If bullies got their noses broken, if they got punched in the face every time they tried to pull some bullshit, or if somebody tries to uh, uh, hustle cheap labor out of somebody else and they get their ass kicked, they ain't gonna do it. We would have a lot better country. We wouldn't be a land of cheap labor, money, and sex. All right. 55 minutes, 30 seconds.